I'll be
boys.
down to do it.
Little jank, but here we go.
All
Riley
right.
Ventura versus Brady Smith.
I know this is sudden, but we're just starting it. We're starting into it. There were some technical difficulties. Um,
Yeah, here we go. Raging Bolt Urshifu versus Amoonguss Incineroar. Riley Ventura versus Brady Smith. Yeah.
yeah, sudden start, but we're here. This is grand finals of
The February Maitland PC.
it's here we go.
Yeah, all right, here we go. We didn't get a whole lot of time to talk about the matchup. But Riley is again running his standard 6 and Brady is running the Como team. Como, they played once in Swiss and Riley said it was a heck of a matchup for him cuz Como is really good into all of the Pokemon that Riley has. We're going to see Urshifu just going for the Surging Strike.
Just starting out, big damage.
And there's no Citrus Berry on this Incineroar, so there's no way for it to survive. Incineroar is just going to go down immediately.
Yep, and that's a big start for Riley. I mean, taking out one Pokemon at the very beginning, that's pretty important. But setting Urshifu's to sleep straight away is very important on Brady's side, as that's one of the main damage dealers on uh, Riley's side of the field.
Especially because if you can force the Terra on the Como, it ignores those stat boosts and isn't resisted by anything. So those critical hits are going to come out and just ignore those boosts that Como is going to work so hard to try and get.
Yep, and here we are going into the Porygon 2 that we've seen on Brady's team, but we haven't seen him use yet. Like we talked about before, Porygon 2, it can it can cause some trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really it doesn't really get taken out too easily, and so it really is just a good Pokemon. It's a huge nuisance, in my opinion. Whenever I go against it, I really hate going against. I hate going against P2.
Yeah, I mean it's good for a reason, right?
It's good for a reason. Whenever you hate going against something, it means it's good.
Yep.
So
Well, for the most part, I don't think Smeargle Muck is good, but it is.
that's fair. That's fair. Well, that's completely fair.
Here we go. Raging Bolt switching out for Riley. Probably doesn't want to get put to sleep. Comes out with the Shen Pao, which probably also doesn't want to be put to sleep, but will bring the Sword of Ruin down onto the field. Amoonguss just going to go for Protect. Going to try and keep it safe. It's not going to matter this turn because Urshifu is still fast asleep. Yeah, but we're going to see this Porygon 2 going for the Trick Room here. Reversing
I love how whenever Porygon 2 uses Trick Room, it kind of just flings its feet around.
Just spinning it, literally spinning its wheels.
It's it's great.
Yep. Yeah, but Brady now has the speed advantage. Riley relies a lot on the natural speed of his Pokemon, and so all of a sudden no longer having that speed control, like we've seen what happens. He has to stall it out. There's no like real defensive counterplay. You have to stall. You just have to take all of your pieces, stall it out, and hope you have enough to beat the main strategy in the back.
Yep.
That does a lot of damage. It is +1.
Terra Blast on Porygon 2 without a Terra is so good.
Does a lot of damage.
It does so much damage.
Urshifu still fast asleep. Shen Pao still fast asleep. Amoonguss. Amoonguss going into Amoonguss just going to be its general nuisance self, trying to cause as much trouble for Riley as
I like how as soon as you said that, it got a zoom in on Amoonguss like it was looking at you when you said that.
Yeah, that's right. You heard me right. You're a nuisance.
No, I have to agree with that.
Yeah, again, it's one of those where it's bad. It's like annoying when you're against it, but that means it's good.
Yep, I also do want to point out that this is the first and second seed in this tournament right now that are playing against each other. These are the best of the best in this Premier Challenge we have here.
Yeah, Shen Pao goes down to the double up. Sword of Ruin no longer active on the field, and Urshifu remains asleep for the full 3 turns.
Man, that Urshifu's taking a lovely little nap. Lovely little nap.
Mm-hmm.
Riley's definitely not in a position that he wants to be in. in Trick Room with Pokemon there who are generally fast.
We do see the Ogerpon.
We
The
do see the
Ogerpon.
Ogerpon.
The Ogerpon is a spore immunity, so it will not be able to be put to sleep by this Amoonguss. But it's also not the most defensive Pokemon.
Ooh, we're
And
looking at
and
the.
Brady has the option of the Poison Terra
That
Blast
is
into this Ogerpon.
true.
And if Ogerpon tries to Terra to get out, of this weakness, all of a sudden, it's now weak to the Spore.
Yep. This is a very important turn as Trick Room's almost running out, but this Ogerpon is exerting a lot of pressure on the field. So I'm curious to see what could happen.
Absolutely. We're going to see the Terra come out from Riley. I would expect this to be the Ogerpon. Try and leverage the fact that you're immune to Spore. You were immune to Spore this turn. Try and get a KO, and then Spiky Shield the next turn, and try and get out of this Trick Room.
Yep, and I would imagine you'd also want to do that to
try and KO this Amoonguss.
Not only that, to potentially be resistant against the not resistant, but neutrally resistant against the Terra Poison, Terra Blast in case that were to occur.
Yep. Urshifu goes down. Riley is left to his final 2 Pokemon as this Ogerpon is going to go for the Ivy Cudgel. All of that damage down into this Amoonguss. It's not good enough to survive this.
Oh, absolutely not. And so, gosh, what is Riley has?
Riley has Raging Bolt Urshifu into Como-O Porygon 2. And Como is in an interesting spot because it's weak to the Dragon Pulse from Raging Bolt. But if it Terras, it's weak to the Ivy Cudgel from the Ogerpon.
That is true, and that's definitely not the greatest position for.
It's not. It's a tenuous position.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But when this Terra gets popped for Brady is probably going to determine this match, because again, this Raging Bolt can hit it on its weaker defensive side, but this Ogerpon is already Terra'd. It's already at +1. If it tries to go for the Terra, it's gonna be a rough go.
Yep, absolutely.
Goes for the Terra Blast into the Ogerpon. Does over 50%. Como going for the body press isn't enough. It is
enough to take the KO on the Ogerpon. So it's just Raging Bolt against.
It's Raging Bolt against Como and Porygon 2. Raging Bolt going for the Thunderbolt into Porygon 2.
Oh
Porygon
yeah,
no.
But the paralysis.
I don't think the paralysis is going to save you personally.
Not really.
Twisted Dimensions have returned to normal. Raging Bolt is now the fastest thing on the field. Porygon 2 can very easily just set up the the Trick Room again.
I think Brady is.
Brady is in a much better position than he was one turn ago.
Yep, way better.
Yeah, we're going to see the Terra. We're going to see the Terra from Brady Smith, going to pop it onto the Como-O, making it a Steel type, trying to resist those Dragon Pulses coming out from the Raging Bolt. It's now neutral to the Thunderclaps, but Thunderbolt coming out from the Raging Bolt, just trying to whittle down the Porygon 2. Body Press does a good chunk of damage.
And the Trick Room with those very fast spinning wheels.
Yeah.
On Porygon 2.
Yeah, but the Trick Room going up. I think Brady has this one.
I think Brady does have this first game as
Battle was
canceled.
Riley
does not look too happy with that game.
No. It was definitely a close one. That linchpin turn is when he lost the Ogerpon. Because if he has the Ogerpon coming out of Trick Room, then there's a chance that Thunderbolt plus Ivy Cudgel can KO that Porygon 2. I don't know how much it does into Porygon 2. I'm unfamiliar with that calculation, but that was a pivotal turn that sealed the game up for Brady.
Yeah, this game was already this game is just so good in Brady's favor. I think the matchups specifically are just so tied well into Brady's favor because Riley Factor has gone on to say that Como-O is a very difficult matchup. I mean, we saw, I don't remember, I think it was Sacramento Regional that a Como-O team won grand finals against Riley Factura because of the fact that Riley relied solely on physical moves against an iron defensing Como-O.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like that is one thing that Riley has the Shin Pao, and Riley let the Shin Pao go down very early. And Riley also has this Raging Bolt, but the Raging Bolt couldn't carry the game on its own.
Absolutely not. It's really just not a good matchup for Riley to be in this situation. I mean, we're kind of seeing a repeat of Sacramento with a little twist on Brady's team, as we have the P2 and Ting Lu. I think the P2 honestly is like something that's Riley's also struggling against in general. It's because that thing takes 4 hits.
Yeah, and it
It's-
can recover, and the P2 can recover back up.
Exactly, and
So
it's unfortunate,
yeah,
to say the least.
yeah, rough matchup. But I think Riley was playing very well to get that game into the position that it was in. Brady still did win, but Riley made it as close as he possibly could. And it's just like that early pivotal turn where the Incineroar went down. I thought that meant that Riley might have the advantage, and then the Urshifu stayed asleep for the full 3 turns, and just Brady got the call right into the Ogerpon, whether it would protect or not, and it just kind of went downhill from there. But we're going into game 2 of our finals. Urshifu and King Gambit from Riley as we go Incineroar Porygon 2 from Brady. And this is probably the
Ooh,
worst lead Incineroar could possibly have asked for.
Yep, the Defiant boost on King Gambit's side. It's definitely good for King Gambit at the moment.
Another special attack boost for the Porygon 2.
Now this King Gambit doesn't Swords Dance, but it is sitting pretty with its Defiant boost. It's just in a solid position right now.
Yep. This Incineroar obviously threatens it a little bit. Incineroar actually switching out here. Going to reset that Intimidate to try and get something for later. Amoonguss, the Driven, comes back in. Going to see the Surging Strikes into the Amoonguss. Amoonguss is going to take that
Ooh.
very well, and the Rocky
The
Helmet.
Rocky Helmet's going to be doing a lot of damage against that Urshifu.
Yep. It's going to deal 3/16, I believe, or 3/12, 3/8. I forget exactly what the number is. But either way,
It's going to do not
it's
a
a lot
lot.
of it's a lot of damage. The King Gambit going for Kowtow Cleave also into this Amoonguss slot. Amoonguss is not going to take that very well.
Wow.
Still hangs on by a thread, and Porygon 2 going to go for the Trick Room here. Just reversing the speed, giving Brady once again the advantage here.
Yeah, Riley, even though there's more damage against Brady right now, Riley's not in a good position. Losing the speed control and just not having...
The
The
Amoonguss
correct-
not going down was big.
Oh, absolutely. Because then those are free spores going into the matchup.
Yep. Riley does not have great ways to be immune to this spore as he switches out this King Gambit, perhaps into one of those spore immunities. No, it's not. It's the No,
Yes,
it
it
is.
is, because
it's
we
the
have
Raging
this
Bolt. He's got the safety goggles.
Safety goggles, yep.
Urshifu also switches out, trying to preserve that piece for later as we get his
Into
own
the
Amoonguss
Amoonguss.
coming in.
Double immunities to those spores.
Thanks to the safety goggles, and Terrablast going to come out into this Amoonguss. Amoonguss going to take a good chunk from that, but not enough to be immediately threatening for this next turn.
Yep, I think Brady's just in such a good position right now. It's really hard for Riley to come out of this, considering it really is just a bad matchup on Riley's half.
Yeah, but it's not over yet by any
Oh,
means.
absolutely.
We've got all
not
four,
by any means.
got
We're
all
too
four
early in the game.
yeah, we've got all 4 Mons left on both sides. We see that the Amoonguss are both going to be causing problems for both teams. Riley has both of his immunities in, but the second one of them goes down, Amoonguss has its juicy target remaining. Yeah, this is a close one. Close one early. Porygon 2 switching out for Brady. Presumably into that Incineroar, for that safety goggles immunity. There it is. And it comes in not boosting that King Gambit. Neither of these Pokemon are going to care about this, about the Intimidate, as Amoonguss on Brady's side goes for Protect. Amoonguss on Riley's side going to go for Pollen Puff into
Onto
the
Brady's Amoonguss, trying to take it out.
Trying to take it out, and Thunderbolt comes out from Riley's Raging Bolt into the Incineroar. Does a good chunk of damage, but Brady now has Fake Out pressure on the field.
Yep, having that fake out pressure is very vital in any game. Like, so especially this late into the game, having that fake out pressure, it's just a very solid position for Brady right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We see, again, if this Amoonguss does not go down this turn for Brady's side, it's going to be causing many more problems for Riley's Pack 2 Pokemon.
Yep, I mean, Brady knows all of Riley's Pokemon. We see that all of them are currently out in the field. Pollen Puff going into that Incineroar. Oh, wow.
Pollen Puffs
Both
going
Pollen
into the
Puffs going into
Incineroar.
that Incineroar. Look at
Incineroar
that.
healing almost all the way back up.
Oh,
Flare
just
Blitz,
just the 1 HP
Flare Blitz
off.
into the opposing Amoonguss, going to take it out. The Rocky Helmet, is it Rocky Helmet on Riley's side?
It
It's
is
Rocky,
not.
it's
It is
Rocky
a
Helmet on
Citrus.
Brady's side. The recoil and the Dragon Pulse coming out from Raging Bolt, going to take out this Amoonguss at long last, but I think Amoonguss may have done its
At
job.
long last.
Amoonguss may have done its job.
Yep, it's Amoonguss is definitely from both sides are definitely threats. Seeing the King Gambit come out here is definitely vital for Riley's play, as King Gambit is a very strong Pokemon. So now we see the Kommo-o, like we've been talking about earlier. Very hard Pokemon to remove
Yeah,
for
and
Riley.
it is once again kind of caught in that situation where it wants to Terra to get out of one weakness, but it will Terra out of a resistance to another. So it just got this timing on this Terra is going to be incredibly important, especially because like this Raging Bolt is not under threat right now, at all. It does not. It's not going to take significant damage from this Incineroar. It's not going to take
Yeah, no,
significant
not at
damage from the
all.
Kommo-o. The Kingambit is under threat from both of them, from both the Kommo-o
Yep.
and the Incineroar. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Terra here from the
Those
Kingambit. We do see a Terra here from Riley's side. Is it that Raging Bolt or is it going to be into that Kingambit?
is
It is
into
the
that King Gambit. That's going to be the Terra Fire variant of the King Gambit. As we all know, there's several different variations. I believe we've seen at least 3 different variations of terrestrialization options for King Gambit. We've seen Terra Dragon, we've seen Terra Fairy, we've seen Terra Fire now. All very good in their own right.
Yeah, we see Protects coming out from both the Como and the Raging Bolt. Kowtow Cleave into the Incineroar. Does a decent chunk of damage. Incineroar going for a parting shot into the Raging Bolt. Going to be blocked by that Protect as Trick Room ends. And all of a sudden,
Trick Room
Brady's
ending
out.
is very vital because now it just flips the entire speed tiers on their head. As you know, now Incineroar isn't as fast as it used to be. Raging Bolt, even though it's a slow Pokemon, I think it might be the new fastest Pokemon on the field,
Yeah.
if not Kommo-o.
I believe, no, we've seen the Como underspeed the Raging Bolt in Trick Room.
So, yeah, I mean,
So the Raging Bolt is now currently the fastest thing in the field. It's threatening huge damage down onto this Como with super effective Dragon Pulses. The Kingambit is soft preventing this Incineroar from trying to switch out, but the Incineroar doesn't have a whole lot of damage left because the Flare Blitz isn't going to be doing a whole lot. And Knockoff gets one big hit as Porygon 2 comes in, gets that special attack boost from the download. Dragon Pulse comes out into this
Dragon
Porygon
Pulse
2.
is important. Ooh, not doing too much damage. Parting Shot onto that Raging Bolt, as Parting Shot onto that King Gambit would not be a good. It would be very disastrous, to say the least.
Absolutely. We're going to see this Como pivot back in with those leftovers and a much higher defense stat. It'll be able to take this Kowtow Cleave much better. But Kowtow Cleave going into the Porygon 2 slot. Porygon 2 sitting at well less than 50%.
Way less than 50%. Yep, and it's really. I'm really curious to see as to how this Porygon 2 will handle, which possibly looks like might be a double up.
Yeah, well, we saw how well it took the double up last time, and it's probably the slowest thing in the field, given that Kingambit tends to run some speed and Porygon tends to run 0 minus speed. So it's going to be interesting to see whether this Kingambit and Raging Bolt can pick it up if the
We see
Porygon
the
is
Terra
faster.
onto that Kommo-o to resist those Dragon Pulses, anticipating if Riley uses a Dragon Pulse onto that Kommo-o. But if he uses it on, if they double into P2, oh, it
P2
looks.
survives. Como goes for that Iron Defense.
I think a Kowtow Cleave, if it goes onto that Porygon 2, it
Porygon
looks like,
2 is
oh,
faster.
it is faster than that King Gambit. That's very important to know.
Goes well above
It
half.
does look
Kowtow
like it
Cleave.
went onto that Porygon. Yep. It's at the exact same health it was before this whole turn.
Yep.
So
Takes about half and heals about half.
yep.
Yeah, and Como is just in a position where it can just start running away with this game because it's no longer under threat from this Kingambit because it's got the Iron Defense up, and it's no longer under threat from this Raging Bolt because the Raging Bolt can no longer hit it for super effective damage.
Absolutely. It's just here's the only thing though. Riley does have that, should still have that Urshifu in the back. If I'm not mistaken, I believe.
I believe he does. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's his way through this is trying to crit through these Iron Defense boosts, but he has to get it in safely, right?
Yeah.
He can't get this. He can't just let the.
He can't risk anything.
Yeah, he cannot risk this Urshifu going down because the second he gets it in and it takes a little bit of damage, stuff starts going down. Raging Bolt again going to chip this Porygon 2 for a little bit. Como going for another Iron Defense, just trying to stay away from this.
A
Kingambit as
recover
much as he can.
again. It's Riley looks very disappointed in this turnout. It doesn't look very good for him in this final.
Catch up,
Again,
once
at
again,
75 health.
right back where we were.
I mean, it's just Komo's just getting free health right now.
Yeah, and Como.
It's just getting free defense boost.
Yep, Como is Kingambit going to switch out
Yep.
into this
that
Urshifu.
Urshifu.
The Urshifu again, the only real thing on Riley's side that can damage this Como now. Como Raging Bolt going for the Thunderbolt. Como taking a little bit of damage. Body press into
onto
the
the
Urshifu
Urshifu,
slot.
and that's
Urshifu down.
most likely the game for
Urshifu-
Brady.
Urshifu down, and Porygon 2 going to get that free recover off now.
There's just almost nothing Riley can do in this situation.
Yeah, we've seen how much damage Raging Bolt Kowtow does into the Porygon 2. We've seen how much the Raging Bolt can do into this Como. I don't think Riley has enough damage left to win this game.
It doesn't look like he does. He only has 2 Pokemon left on the field, and even though they're at like very high HP, they're not set up very nicely.
Yeah, it's an iffy situation.
For sure.
Porygon 2 does have the option to go for Trick Room. It has the option to just go on the offensive at long last. It's got that +1 in special attack. We see the Thunderbolt come out from the Raging Bolt into the Como, still not below even half.
Oh, getting the paralysis,
para.
that could
that
be important.
enough. Ice Beam comes out from the Porygon 2 into this Raging Bolt. Does over
Does
50%.
Over 50%. Kowtow Cleave, how much does it do?
Does it crit? It
doesn't crit.
Doesn't do
If
nearly
this
enough.
is not a full paralysis.
Body Press comes out into the Kingambit. That's enough for. That would probably be enough to OHKO it realistically.
Yeah.
Instead, with that chip damage, enough to take it out. And now it's Porygon 2 and Como versus a solo
body
Raging
press,
Bolt.
a body press or an Ice Beam would be able to take this.
Either one will be able to take it out. Riley
Yep.
needs a whole mess of full paralysis
It,
to get himself out
yeah,
of this one. And
the battle was
is
canceled, and Brady Smith is your premier challenge February. Cool Stuff Games Maitland champion. That's a long title, but
Yeah,
there he is.
we good.
Second premier challenge in a row at Cool Stuff Games Maitland, taken by Brady. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
come on, Brady, leave
yeah.
some for us. Like, come on.
We got to see two of the top players in the game going at each other at their best. Obviously, it was a rough matchup for one side, but we still saw how some of the best play in the world can make any matchup a close one.
Yeah, it really was. This was a good tournament all around. I mean,
Absolutely.
we've seen
We've
great
seen some great
players.
stuff.
We had a stacked top cut bracket. Like, it was insane. It had all of our best Florida players. I mean, yeah, here's another look at the bracket.
Brady Smith winning that finals 2-0.
He won every top cut game 2-0. Look at Brady go.
Just won 6 straight games to get himself another PC victory, proving that Como is not dead yet.
Yeah, come on, it can still do some.
We'll
it can still
consider
do some work.
what the meta is like right now. Think about the top 3 Mons, right? Fluttermane is obviously something you need to be wary of, but we've seen it do well into Fluttermane before with that Terra Steel, potentially with the Bulletproof. But the other 2 top Mons are Urshifu Single Strike and Ogerpon Wellspring,
Yeah,
both of which it resists.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a good Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You can be used in different ways, and here are the top 8 teams. If you want to try them out yourself, you don't have the EV spreads, but honestly, I think what you really need is just the Pokemon to know what to use.
Yeah, we've got 4 Ogerpon Wellspring, we've got 4 Ogerpon Wellspring in the top 8, including 1 in the top 4. We've got 4 Flutter Mains as well, though none of them made it into finals. Again, Komao Golden Go winning the whole thing.
I mean, Golden Go being the ghost type to come out on top is very surprising to me.
I mean, yeah, considering what it has to go through, it had to go through a field full of Urshifu Dark and King Gambit. Had to go through.
Look at all these Urshifus.
Yeah.
No, it's my nightmare.
Yeah, 4 Urshifu, 2 top 8, 1 in top 4, and 1 in finals. All right. We will have a winner interview with Brady Smith coming up shortly. Yeah, it's been a fun tournament.
It's been a fun tournament. I mean, what was your favorite matchup today? What was your favorite matchup?
I remember I was talking with Riley after his first Swiss game, the one we had on the stream, and he said that he was super scared of Janice's team.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that had my favorite moment of the weekend.
Oh, that's
because of that double sucker punch.
Oh,
right?
that double sucker punch! I really liked that double sucker punch. That was a very good play by Riley. And you could even see Janice's hesitation to use an attack because she knew it was a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, what a tournament, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely, what a tournament. We do have a winner interview with Brady Smith coming up shortly. We're going to cut away for a moment to get that set up, and we will see you guys on the other side.
I'm back. I'm Landon, and I'm back with Brady Smith, the winner of the Premier Challenge this weekend. Second in a row.
Thank you.
Second Premier Challenge in a row that you. That's gotta feel good.
It does. It does feel good. Yes.
So I gotta ask. I asked this to Jackson, but you know we were just casting the tournament. I asked him what was his favorite match to watch. What was your favorite match today to play?
Oh, good question. So I had some absolute bangers up against Matt. Oh my goodness, those were all down
those
the wire.
were so good. I remember watching those. I talked to Matt afterwards, and he was like, "Man, those games."
Right. So we played in Swiss, right?
Yeah.
We actually game 1 we went to a 4-4 tie based on Pokemon percentage HP because we kept going for the same exact win condition, which is just okay, have Incineroar next to Amoonguss, parting shot, get the ally in, heal them up the pole, heal the Incineroar by switching. It was just a back and forth, and then with the combination of sleep turns plus some smart play from Matt, he was able to take that one. Game 2, I just switched to Como. I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just Overcoat is immune to Amoonguss, so I'm just gonna do that.
Throw it in there,
exactly. And then really quick, I gotta say this as well. This is the crazy part. Game 3, we decided to switch it up and go hyper offense. You know, we both got tired. Nobody got sick. We're like, we can't keep on doing this.
I remember me and Jackson came up and we were like, oh, they must be in the end of their game, and then we saw you guys and we were like, yo, both of their Pokemon, they both have full teams, and it was ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, seeing you guys face off against Intopka, at least then you guys, it must have been a lot more mind games then, because you guys have played against each other already before in the day. I mean, was that more stressful?
Yeah. Okay. So the person who really like had a very fair matchup to me was Hunter Braum actually, as he had a Golden Go, which was kind of annoying because if it's nasty plot Golden Go, it's a little bit hard for me to break.
Yeah.
So he was playing like pretty well into that set, but I just had to like kind of call him every turn. Like I was able to get like a +1 up on him, so that was the only reason why I won inside top 4. But up against finals, like Riley had like a very hard matchup to deal with Como. That's just how his team is constructed.
I felt super bad for Riley because I was like, wow, there's the one. You were the only person in this entire tournament who brought a Como.
Yeah.
And that just happened to be
Right.
the final match for Riley to deal with. And I'm just like, wow,
Right,
poor guy.
yeah. No, I got this team from I found it like online on Cut Explorer. Eric Rios and Alex Gomez, they both use this team.
Yeah.
And it just like honestly, like I'm not the biggest fan of like slow play for regionals because it's like 9 rounds,
Oh,
but at a local,
absolutely.
I was like, you know what, like I can play
Let's
slow,
bring this,
it's
let's
like
bring this.
I can do this,
Yeah.
like because I'm used to Incineroar Amoonguss mirrors from back from like 2018. Whenever I was like, very good, like now I'm like all right, like
Yeah.
the average level of play is like
I want to
so
say,
good.
all right, you just won.
Oh,
two
I mean, okay,
PCs
thank
in
you,
a row,
I guess,
I'm
thank
just
you.
saying.
Right.
And
Thank you.
like your Porygon 2, I remember I was seeing it. I've been messing with Porygon 2 lately. Like, what? I'm just saying this for the audience's sake. How do you kind of like pivot Porygon 2 in the situations? Because I know
Good
people
question.
who struggle with it.
Okay, so for P2, like what I kind of noticed is like it needs a lot of support. So if you notice, this team's constructed inside of a way where it kind of enables Porygon 2 thanks to Amoonguss because you can Pollen Puff away HP, Rage Powder away attacks, Intimidate plus Fake Out is very nice to get Trick Room, and Tinglu as well can further push P2's Spit F like
Yep.
up to a crazy amount. The biggest thing about P2, which I gotta say this, is like it hits really hard and it's a Trick Room setter just because download. It's
Yeah,
a download is like
yeah.
crazy stupid.
Download is crazy.
Because Riley was leading or Shifu at all those games, so I was able to get a +1 special attack, and we saw
Every single
every
time.
every
And
time.
then and I think that's also something interesting about P2. It's like you have to hope you get it on the right side of the field because if you get it,
That's not how that works.
It
so
isn't?
here's how download works. It takes the average of the opponent's special defense and defense, and whichever is higher is what you'll get
That's
your. I know, yeah, it's
insane.
pretty,
That's
that's an
ridiculous.
old mechanic. It's an
That's
old
rid-
mechanic,
Oh, wow.
No, but gee, Trace is this other ability. That
Yep.
one is totally up to RNG. That
yeah,
one's just
that
like
one is
that's the
that's
RNG
what I
one.
was thinking of.
Right.
Yeah, because it's just like I mean. You look at Porygon, you think, oh well, you just gotta get lucky with it. But realistically, most people just don't know how to use it because they kind of struggle with positioning. But that's the most important thing in this game, positioning. And I gotta go back to that game with you against Matt. The positioning between you two,
It was crazy.
It was ridiculous.
The
Like
thing is, I got red so many times in that set, but like
Oh
I was
my
still.
gosh, yeah.
It's like he started nailing me. It's like every time I go for a body press, like there was a ghost type that was coming in.
Yeah,
and
it
every
was- it
time
was
I'd switch into Amoonguss, it get Ice Cold Crash. I was like, what
was going on?
I know,
like,
it was-
it was ridiculous. Like every single time, it was like, oh my gosh, guys, look at this read that math. Like, there's no way Brady's gonna come back from this, and you did
Yeah.
every time. It was just, I don't know, man. I just gotta pay the compliments from you. And
Thank you.
So here's something I wanted to point out. So the Golden Go, it has choice specs, but it also has nasty play. I'm
Yep.
assuming it's because of that trick.
Precisely.
I just think that's super interesting because that's not something you usually see often.
Yeah, so I mean this was used on a choice scarf set back in like regulation
Okay.
C. I think Ryan Haig, Zomaug used it on like he got second at a regional
Mm-hmm.
back then. But like I said, I just totally took this but but the logic of it is like basically if you play up against an Amoonguss, you can trick the Amoonguss, right? and then it's like they're like locked and you just nasty plot in their face. Like, oh great,
It's like,
it's
oh,
like,
awesome. You're in a
literally-
pretty good position.
I gotta say though, Goldango, absolute worst Pokemon on this team at least. Like,
Really?
I was thinking of like something else that would help into like maybe like opposing Goldango. Ironically, I've seen people are going like Volcarona over Goldango on this build. I'm gonna try that out next. That's the
sounds
secret sauce.
That sounds super interesting. I mean, Volcarona, it's not something you see too often, but if it's set up correctly, it could be a complete monster.
Oh, it's so
Like,
good,
so
yeah.
good. I mean, you got pretty good meta picks, but something we were talking about earlier. Usually we see Tinglu with poison, but today not only we've seen people with Terra Fairy, Terra Blast. I mean, I know you said you took this team from elsewhere, but like, do you know the logic behind that?
Yes, I do. Okay, so previously on this build, like they had a Flutter Mane over the Goldango. That was a Fairy type, but because they switched out of the Flutter Mane to a Goldango, they needed a Fairy type that could help into stuff like Urshifu Dark. So the
yeah.
Terra Blast, it was really cool.
It's rising up a lot.
It's
Urshifu
so
Dark.
good. Yes.
So So you got to be able to like have counterplay against it.
It's
you know?
so good, and like in Trick Room, dude, like get this, like it's like normally it's like Tinglu kind of gets beat by like Urshifu, right? Because they can close
Yeah.
combat you, can't really do anything. But it's like you tear Farah in their face, and like,
Like,
you can, like
what am I gonna
yeah,
do?
like, yeah,
Like,
then
they can't do
suddenly it
anything.
just gets switched. It's like it's
Like,
awesome. I love it.
It's amazing.
What else? What else? I didn't click Terra Ghost once in Incineroar. That's kind of a fraud pick. I'm not gonna lie. It could be
Yeah.
anything else. Anyways, though, that's not important. Yeah, Terra's still Como. It's kind of a Terra hog whenever you bring Como because it's like you're
Yeah.
forced to fairy, right?
Yeah.
Instead of some matchups, it's not like if they don't have a fairy type or a dragon type, then it's like sure, yeah, but almost
Like-
every team has like at least one.
Yeah,
you know,
because
it's like
Fairy is one of the best typings in the
Yes,
game. It's
yes.
especially with Fluttermane out there. Like, come on.
yeah, come on.
And I remember seeing it because like on the Sacramento regional winning team, they had bulletproof to completely wall out Flutters. Is the overcoat specifically like trouble against the Moongas?
I hate Amoongus.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
All right. I'm Team Brady. I hate Amoongus as well.
So all right, get this. So whenever I team build, I normally have this rule, right, where it's like you gotta have two
yeah, you
Pokemon.
told me about it. You got 2 counters for everything.
Bingo,
That's
you
what
were-
he,
awesome.
he's-
Good
First
memory.
time I ever went against this guy, he gave me one piece of advice. He said, make sure you have 2 counters for everything.
So
And since then, Amoongus has always been on my radar.
now the really cool thing about this team is if you look at it, there's Overcoats. That's one Pokemon Mew Amoongus. Goldango. That's another thing of Mew Amoongus. So technically, it's all we need, right? We only need those two.
you
It's just-
have 4.
four.
I'm
Yeah, we have
sorry.
4. We
You
totally
have
4. So
I,
it's awesome because we can we can switch. You know, it's like if they have
Yeah.
Amoongus, it's like oh okay, so I can go with these two or these two or these two. It's like I can keep
it's
switching
really
it up.
just
You know,
whatever
it's like
you want.
exactly, yeah.
Or even, like if you want, you could like use like even 3 or like or even 4. But like obviously that'd be overkill. But like on occasion that'd be something that's an option you have.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I love the team. Thank you, Eric Rios and Alex Gomez. You guys didn't give me the EV spreads. I didn't really ask, but I recreated them. Awesome team. You know, it's a little bit weak to luck, and I totally got Ivy Cudgel crit. Like it was insane. It happened on stream as well. Like it happened. I was like, I mean, yeah, like that's the team. Like
that's
whatever.
What,
like
that's what we were saying.
um,
we were like, man, Xianpao and Fluttermane, those are going to be the most consistent options for Matthew right now. And then those were taken out, like not easily, but those were taken out. And then we saw the Ogerpon pick up a kill, and we were like, oh, all right. So,
right, like my plus like 2 like Iron Defense up like Como just took like because Sword of Ruin was in place. So it was like I took like 60% behind the Cudgel. I was like, wow, that took. Because a crit, I was like, dang, like that did so flipping much damage. That was
Yeah.
the thing, like, oh man. Rocky Helm was also sick, by the way, to break sashes on Amoongus. I was
love
gonna do
Rocky Helmet
Citrus.
on Amoongus. It's listen, I agree with you. I hate Amoongus.
right?
But it's
But-
good. It's good. You can't deny it. It's a good mon. So that's the same way I am with Urshifu. I've always said that everyone I'm the biggest Urshifu hater. My Urshifu is nicknamed Please Ban.
Of
Oh,
course, you gotta
because-
ban Receiver, right? Like
everyone,
everyone's
gosh.
that.
I'm not an Urshifu lover, but the saying goes, if you can't beat him, join him. you know?
Right.
That's-
I do gotta say, by the way, as you saw inside like that finals game, game 2, I swapped in on a Surging Strikes from Urshifu. That's just like I love
I
like
love
those
doing
Amoongus
that
like
with
plays.
Amoongus.
Like it's so good.
It's so good.
What was I gonna say though? The thing about Amoongus, it feels like you're gambling because it's just like it all comes down to sleep turns. You know, it's like
Yeah.
do they get 1 turn, 2 turn, 3 turn? Riley got like 3 turn sleep, and I was like game 1, I was like, okay, shoot, whoa, like maybe I shouldn't have won this, but you know what? Like Amoongus just
But
allowed me
shake
to-
my hand.
Exactly.
We won.
It was like,
we
"Ugh,"
take
like,
those.
woo.
I
But yeah.
mean, in general, man, great job today.
Thank you.
5-1 record is really good. What was the team that beat you?
Okay, it was Hunters. It was the Golden Go one, the one I was talking about.
Oh,
like literally, like
it beat you in Swiss. Is
yes,
that what
yeah,
happened?
yeah. So it's just like Golden Go is just so annoying for this team because if they just set up nasty plot, I mean, okay, Golden Go plus like Ogerpon because like this team does not have immediate damage to threaten Ogerpon. You'd have to like
Yeah.
Terra Poison your P2, but if you're bringing P2, that's a Pokemon that cannot touch their Goldango. So there's a mind game of do they protect? Do they? You know, it's like either way,
Yeah.
it's like it's so annoying to break. So like the only way I broke inside like top cut is I just had to call him every single turn. I was
Every
like, okay,
single-
like
that's-
I had to keep like
That's
making
difficult
really
for sure.
yeah, you know, it's like, oh my, it was one of those things where it's like if I got like 1 turn wrong, I could lose, but it's like, I just had to keep going and like plowing through. Like, some days you have it, other days you don't, but I guess
Yeah.
just today I had it,
I mean, in general, man, great finish, great plays. I mean, this is the second PC in a row that you've just taken home for a win.
Thank you.
And I know you said the Golden Go was worse than your team, and like, but both times you had like you had a similar Golden Go set. It had like, it had its niche at moments, but yeah, man, in general, great job on the win.
Thank you.
that's 30 championship
30.
points to
Yep.
win.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, it
like
is.
that's,
I'm like,
that's
I
pretty
don't know how
good.
much. I think I'm at like 250. I don't know. I'm gonna go for Worlds. You know, I feel pretty good. I'm gonna qualify this year. I'm going to Europe, so you know, EUIC.
Yeah, yeah,
Woo,
yeah.
woo, party in London. You know, that's gonna be awesome.
All right, good luck in EUIC. Good luck in the future in getting your championship points and making Worlds. Thank you all for watching. It's been a great tournament. I mean, our top cut was stacked. We were talking about it like crazy.
Right.
It was amazing. But thank you all for joining us.
Hold
and-
on one sec. I gotta say one thing before
Yeah,
we
yeah,
finish.
I got you.
Guys, follow me on Twitter at VGC Corner. I gotta plug. I
Get
gotta
the
plug.
get the-
I
you
gotta
won,
plug.
You won.
Thank
you got
thank
the plug.
VGC Corner. I post little tips and everything about how to get better at the
right.
game.
It's right on the screen right
nah,
now.
Right now, look at that. Look at our back end producer. Amazing job. Thank you. But yeah, that's it. All right, you can close it out. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you all for joining us. Follow VGC Corner. Subscribe to VGC Corner. And we will see you all next time at Florida VGC Locals.